Hi, everybody. So today we are talking to Chelsea Krost, and we are going to learn a little bit more about her radio show and all the amazing things that she's doing. So, hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
So I'm just dying to learn all about you, and our readers probably know you as from your talk show, which started out as Teen Talk Live and is now the Chelsea Krost Show. So, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start your own radio show at age 16.
Well, at age 16, you can imagine having such an idea would really be kind of not tangible, but that wasn't going to stop me. I thought at 16 years old that there was no platform for teenagers or young adults to come together and voice their opinion, have their opinions heard, be able to talk about any topic under the sun, and feel like it was a place that they owned. Because at the time, which was 6 years ago,
Hmm.
um, there was so much going on in the media with young adults like Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, Nicole Richie, Kim Kardashian, and I was like, wow, these are all Miley Cyrus. These are
Hmm.
all young role models who are in the media constantly, but they weren't role models to me. Instead, they were exactly like the opposite of what a role model should be. So I was sick of it, and I wanted to create a platform for really inspiring people to come together. And that was my initiative to
Hmm.
starting Talk Live, and it just blossomed from there.
Very cool. So I'm sure you were probably a sophomore in high school or something like that. So how did you go about finding the resources that you needed, and what were some of the things you learned as you started to get going?
So literally my idea for Teen Talk Live started on a yellow spiral notepad and a pen. And I always say, like, think big, dream big, write big. If you have an idea, if you have an idea, put it down on paper and make it like a big piece of paper because your idea should stand out to you. So what I did was I took my yellow spiral notepad and I wrote down topic after topic after topic of what I wanted to discuss on the radio amongst other teenagers. So what I did was I started with body image, nutrition,
Hmm.
fitness, bullying, um, even, and then of course I had like entertainment, fashion, and then after every category or with every category, I thought, okay, now I need an expert to talk about these topics with me and my other teenagers. So, for instance, when I talked about nutrition, I went to a nutritionist. When I would talk about body image, I had on a personal trainer. When I talked about plastic surgery, I had a plastic surgeon on the show. Fashion, I talked to the fashionista of all fashionistas, Jennifer O'Hanlon out of Boca Raton, Florida. So I always had an expert on board regarding my topics, and that did take a lot of time and energy to organize that list of people who wanted to come on the platform and talk about it with me. And as the show continued to grow and people started to hear more about the show, experts were calling me saying, you know what, I have an idea. I would love to talk about it on Teen Talk Live. What do you think? And it just was this beautiful marriage between people who wanted to learn and also people who wanted to share. So it became this fun game of what's the topic going to be next and what can I possibly think of to have on the show.
Well, and it seems like the show did kind of take on a life of its own because it grew and turned into something that you're now doing professionally. So what do you think was the turning point as far as when you knew the show was going to be something that was really a viable career for you?
Well, it's really funny because if you talk to my parents and my best friends who are with me from my yellow spiral notepad, starting the show was literally for me fun because I absolutely loved it, and also another way for me to get into college because I'm not saying that I'm not smart, but I'm not calling myself a genius. It's very hard for me to take tests. I'm much more creative, and I rather speak the test than write the test. So I thought this was going to be a plus on my resume. So as much as I would have loved for it to take on into a career path, I really had no idea it was going to become such a beautiful career. And I didn't even know. But I
So it
really
was just
started to
another
realize.
check off the extracurricular list at first.
Exactly,
Uh-huh.
exactly. And and it ended up really helping me get into school as well as becoming my career. I got a scholarship for extracurricular activity to the school that I go to right now, Marymount. So that was a beautiful thing. But my senior year of high school, I interviewed the first ever Rwandan refugee who came to America, and her name was Christine Uwazu. And after hearing her story of triumph and survival, I turned to my mom, who was also my manager, and I said, Mom, I know that I have to go to Africa. Like, it is a calling of mine. It's a passion of mine. I want to continue doing the work of helping other young girls in Africa. It was so, I can't explain it. It was something I needed to do. And my mom was right on board. Like, she instantly agreed and couldn't be more excited to help me with my journey. So after making Africa a success, literally, it changed my life. And when I went to Africa, I was actually a freelance reporter for CBS and Fox in South Florida. They trusted me to bring a camera along with me to
Wow.
Africa, that I then brought all the footage back to the States and edited it with my mentor, Suzanne Boyd, who works at CBS. And it turned into a 4-part series on CBS
Wow.
News. And working between doing the radio show, feeling this connection with Africa, making my dream for this missionary trip to actually happen, and then creating this docu-series with CBS, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to just continue to make this happen.
Hmm.
And I ended up moving to New York that same summer for college. And when I got to New York, I got presented with the opportunity to be the spokesperson for You by Kotex. So it was just one thing after the other, that it was just great opportunity, great opportunity, great opportunity, and it's history from there.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the missionary work that you did while you were in Africa and what that
Yeah,
entailed?
absolutely. So my missionary focus was empowering women's education and also sanitary hygiene for women, because what a lot of people don't appreciate or realize that's so important to us here in the States is how amazing it is to have sanitary hygiene products at our fingertips. I mean, we don't realize how lucky we are to be able to go to the store and buy a tampon or a
Hmm.
sanitary, and then be able to function in our everyday activity, like going to school or going to work or taking care of your children. So in Africa, because those products aren't available, the women end up falling behind in school, which can trickle then to not graduating, which then they don't have a degree, and then they can't get work, and then they can't
Hmm.
have family. So it's a bad chain reaction. So I contacted Kotex as a sponsor for my missionary trip, and they gave me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sanitary napkins to bring with me to Africa. So I was in the slums with
Wow.
HIV infected women and their babies who were struggling to get by, and hand delivering them these products and empowering them to go to school. And I visited other orphanages and other schools, like middle schools and elementary schools in the mountains, and it was like before I went to Africa, some of the people that I was speaking with who had already been to Africa, they said, Chelsea, you're going to come back bitten by the Africa bug. And I
Hmm.
was like, okay, whatever that means. And literally, my bite is still sore because I can't wait to go back. Um, so if there's any place that you want to go in the world, please put Africa on your list. It's absolutely incredible. The people are so warm. They're so welcoming. They're so ready to welcome you with open arms. And honestly, I can't wait to go back.
Great. And do you have plans to take on any other sort of initiatives like that as far as
With
volunteering or missionary work in any realm?
Well, I work very hand in hand with Africa Heart, and anybody can go on, type into Google Africa Heart. They're based out of California, and they continue to help women in the slums in Nairobi, Kenya. That's every day. They work to empower women getting jobs, whether it's sewing uniforms for students or making beautiful scarves and bags. And they also were focusing on getting fresh water wells
Hmm.
inside the slums so these women and children can have fresh water. And Vicky and I still try to keep in contact as much as we can for being across the country from one another. But my philanthropy has not stopped since then. I am constantly involved in organizations and charities. I was actually last weekend, I flew to Florida to be at the SOS Children's Village, which I've been involved with since I was 12 years old. It's the SOS Children's Florida and Coconut Creek, and they take abused and neglected children of the same family, and they make sure that they live in the same house in this community of SOS. And the stories are so heart-wrenching, but what they do for these children is really give them this beautiful life and allow them to be educated, and the success stories are incredible. So I have my hands dipped in a lot of different
Hmm.
charities. Last summer, I went over to Joplin, Missouri after the tornado wreaked havoc through Joplin, and I was hand delivered. I was working with the Red Cross out there, and some of that footage is on my website, chelseakrost.com. But so I'm constantly trying to help wherever is needed.
That's great. And you, along with all the amazing things you've done, you kind of took your platform and used it as a way to do more on the Hollywood side as well, as far as red carpet reporting and that kind of
Yes.
thing. So tell us a little bit, because this is our celebrity month here at Heart of Gold. So tell us a little bit about how you got into that, and have you had any fun or interesting encounters on the red carpet? I'm sure that you have.
Well, honestly, what I do is so exciting because I'm constantly putting on different hats. I'm a radio talk show host, I'm a radio co-host, I'm a blogger, I'm a spokesperson, I'm an author, and I get to do reporting in crazy, amazing, awesome events with celebrities that are just mind blowing. So one of the organizations that I really work with is the L'Oreal Paris Women of Worth Awards, and they take out of thousands and thousands of applicants the most incredible women who have started organizations all on their own. And I've been doing that for the past 2 years, and I go onto the red carpet, and not only do I get to interview all the incredible nominees, but also the celebrities who come out to support these women. So last year, I got to interview Kerry Washington and Trisha Yearwood and Abiola Davis and her husband, and got to see Giada from the Cooking Home Network, and Hoda Kotb was there, and that was absolutely mind-blowing. Trisha Yearwood was one of my favorite people I've
Hmm.
ever interviewed. It's that Southern hospitality situation. Everybody from the South who's a celebrity is just so sweet. And then this year, I got to interview Amy Mullins, Juliana Margulies, and Andy McDowell, and that was absolutely incredible also. And then I've also had the opportunity to interview like major fashion people in the industry. So I was at Hervé Leger and BCBG runway shows for Fall Fashion Week, and I got to actually interview Luba and Max Azria of BCBG and Hervé. So the celebrity genre, I get to meet different people of different genres. I even got to interview Ken Walsh, who's the chief correspondent of the White House during Obama's presidential inauguration, and Mary Eisenhower, who's Dwight Eisenhower's great granddaughter. So in my young 21 years of life, I really had the opportunity to experience a lot and interview incredible people, and I can't even imagine the people that I get to interview in store. I'm so excited. I have to say, and then I worked with Khloe Kardashian when I was a spokesperson for You by Kotex, and she was just a force to be reckoned with. So I can't pick my favorite because I really enjoyed all of them, but it's really fun because different experiences, different opportunities, different people, different genres of where you are. It's very exciting.
Well, being that you've interviewed so many different types of people across the spectrum, what would be your top interviewing tip for someone who might want to be a journalist?
Okay, so here's my top interviewing tip. I am guilty of doing this, and this is like learning from my own mistake, if you will. When I first started in the industry, I was 16 years old. So obviously people were constantly questioning my age. So at 16, how like what kind of what what do you have to offer by you interviewing me? Or how articulate can you absolutely be at 16 years old? Or what credibility do you have at 16 years old? Don't let those questions ever put you down, because you have every right, you have every right to, interview who you want, and your age shouldn't get in the way. So after a couple of years of getting more interviews under my belt and gaining a little bit more confidence in my skills, if you stand like you're ready to take charge and you're not going to take no for an answer, people aren't going to mess with you. And if you give yourself the credibility and you align yourself with the right person and you present yourself like they have no opportunity to say no and you're only going to benefit them, then you're golden. So if you go in like, "Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm not sure if you have time, but I would like to get a quick interview." No. "Hi, I'm Chelsea from Teen Talk Live or the Chelsea Krost Show, and I would love to interview X, Y, and Z, and they're going to be featured on X, Y, and Z." Like, create your platform, give your pitch, and they're not going to say no. And if they do say no, then they're lost.
Perfect. Well, Chelsea, we're almost out of time. So, on a final note, what would be your advice to someone who wants to get into broadcast journalism or podcasting or, um, follow a path similar to yours?
For people who are interested in becoming a reporter, journalist, blogger, author, what's beautiful about today's world, as much as there are many competitors out there, we have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Google, and there are so many platforms that you can put your own work out and also receive information on how to start doing whatever you want to do. So don't let anything ever put you down or say you can't, because there's so much accessible information at your fingertips that can
Hmm.
help do whatever you want to do. And also, I've learned that it's very easy to let others persuade maybe something that you think is a great idea. And I've learned the hard way that it's hard to trust a lot of people, especially within this industry. It's a dog eat dog business. So make sure that you surround yourself with very, very, very close friends and family. Make sure that you have a great support system. Don't let anybody bring you down. And especially if you're young, the time is to start now. Don't let age get in the way. Utilize the classes at high school or in college. In high school, I enrolled in television production in ninth grade, and it helped boost my career because I was working by my sophomore year of high school. So if you have the opportunity to learn about your passion, take it and run with it.
Hmm.
It may not be what you want to do in the future, but knowledge is power, and it may be fun.
Well, thank you so much, Chelsea. You rock. And I know
Thank
our readers are going to
you.
be very inspired by what you had to say. So we appreciate it. And
Thank you.
have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.